How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's ZDC, and today we're doing a CPM 15V test update on this Northern Knife Works dart. I've been carrying this for a couple days now, I think 4 or 5 days, and using it. We are going to discuss 15V versus 15V today, but I want to roll in some footage of me using this knife. And, disclaimer, this isn't everything I've done with the knife. I don't have time all day to bring a tripod around and film what I'm doing, but I did try to get a few tasks on camera that I've done with this, so we'll roll into the B-roll footage, and then we're going to talk about 15V and 15V. So if you don't want to watch all the behind-the-scenes usage, skip forward and we'll get to the discussion. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now that you've seen the B-roll footage, we're going to talk about the edges, the edge breakdown, the performance, because this is very interesting. And these two knives, well, we'll get into it. So this Spyderco 15V knife was delivered to me with a very coarse, toothy edge. That is very typical of production knives, and it was not overly coarse or anything. It didn't come with a burr. It was a beautiful, aggressive, coarse edge. Felt like maybe a 600 grit, something like that. Arrived very toothy and held that edge forever. I believe in my review of this knife, I stated that the only reason I sharpened it was because I wanted to see how it sharpened. It didn't even need to be sharpened. It the edge breakdown of this was so toothy. This is one of those steels that will just cut and cut and cut forever, and you like don't need to sharpen it. It's ridiculous. So it, like I said, it felt like it came with around a 600 grit edge, toothy, broke down toothy, was a pleasure to use. The edge it has now is a 600 grit diamond edge off of a KME. I was trying to replicate what it came from, or what it came with, I should say. And this is about as close as I can get to how it arrived. And the edge is just like nasty, sticky, toothy, sharp. Like you can hear how aggressive it is. So the edge breakdown on this particular knife was very aggressive, and my hypothesis is that it broke down even more toothy, which I loved because it came with such a coarse edge. So in a production setting, a lot of knives are leaving the factory with a pretty rough edge. There aren't really any factories that are doing like mirror polishes, right? So it was already coarse to begin with. I believe the nature of the steel allowed it to microchip even further with use, which created these micro serrations. And basically this knife had a ridiculously aggressive toothy edge the entire time I tested it, because it already arrived very coarse, and then it microchipped even further, and it cut forever. Almost like Maximate, like just an incredible experience, exactly what I want in an EDC knife. It was great. Now let's go to the edge that I got from Levi. So Levi uploaded a video showing what he does with his knives. He uses a TS Prof, and as you can see, the edge that Levi sends out is totally opposite of Spyderco, right? Which makes sense, he's a custom maker. So this is a beautiful, glistening mirror polish edge. Absolutely crazy. I have not stropped this, I have not sharpened it. I've been using it for about 5 days now, and this is the edge that it came with. Levi, I believe, works up on the TS Prof to 800 on the Veneve stones. Then he goes to a 3 and 0.5 micron gunny juice on strops. And that gives you this absolutely stunning, glistening edge, okay? This is also aggressive, in my opinion, even though it's that polished. And like I said, haven't stropped this, haven't sharpened it, and I've been using it a lot. And I feel that it's got some nasty bite, and it's still very toothy, even for being this polished, right? This is a very different edge than the Spyderco knife, but this hasn't been touched up. I've been using it a lot, and it's very, very aggressive. You can hear it's just got that nasty CPM 15V bite, even at a high polish. Now, why is this important? Before we go into that, by the way, I have cut more abrasive material than you saw on camera. I just can't carry a camera around and film myself all day. I have cut some leather and some cardboard with this, so some more abrasive material that do impact an edge. Like I said, I just haven't been able to film literally everything that I do, but it's been used for 5 days straight on all different things, and it's still that toothy and that sharp, even at this high of a polish. So why is that important to me? It's important because I'm not seeing a difference. I'm not seeing a difference between 15V and 15V. The reason that's important to me is because I'm not, I'm trying not to get into the weeds with this. I'm not sure if whatever secret custom protocol was done on the Spyderco knives in 15V, I'm not sure if it's like a noticeable difference. And I'm not saying that as an insult, and I am so ready for all of the fanboys to be like, there's a difference! 15V is not the same as 15V! And they're gonna rip me apart. I'm ready for it. Guys, I'm not totally sure that I can tell a difference between 15V and 15V. I understand that there was a secret protocol made for these knives that was supposed to increase, what was the wording? Increase edge stability and toughness and such from other 15V knives on the market previously. And that's why these were so sought after and everything. But the reason why I'm saying I can't notice a difference is because the nature of the steel isn't showing me any difference. So 15V is renowned for being toothy and aggressive, right? And the edge that this particular knife came with was very coarse, right? So it allowed the edge to break down in a coarse fashion, not only because of the nature of the steel and, you know, that, 23% volume of vanadium carbides, 15% vanadium, 23% vanadium carbide volume. So the coarse edge mixed with the nature of the steel being super high carbide volume of super hard carbides allowed it to be an aggressive steel in breakdown. We love that. All I'm saying is this is 15V, it has 15% vanadium, and it has 23% carbide volume of vanadium carbides. So the nature of the steel is allowing it to break down into an aggressive fashion because it's 15V. So even with this very high polish, this very mirror polish edge, it's still breaking down like 15V because it is 15V. Does that make any sense? So even though it's polished, it doesn't matter because it's 15V and it was heat treated by a custom maker to a high hardness, so it breaks down in an aggressive fashion, even though it doesn't have the same coarse edge that this one did. So my point is, and like I said, I am ready for this to unleash a war. My whole point is, the reason I was very excited to test this 15V was because I had never experienced it from a custom maker, and then there were people saying it's never going to be Sean's 15V. It's never going to be the way that Sean Houston heat treats 15V. And I was like, well, nobody really has that because Sean's custom knives are $1,200 and very rare. Like, I highly doubt any of you commenting have a 15V knife from Sean Houston directly. And then they were like, no, the ones that he did the heat treat for Spyderco. And I'm like, right, but that's just he just, from my understanding, helped create a protocol for mass production furnace treated 15V for Spyderco, because that's what they were doing, was giant furnaces with tons of 15V, which is a very finicky super steel. So you have to have a protocol that'll work for that environment. That was my understanding. And everyone was like, no, this is never going to be what Sean Houston did. So I've been comparing them, and I already have all my footage and my testing and my notes of testing this 15V, and it was phenomenal. And I'm testing this now, and it just seems also like 15V. It just performs like 15V, it breaks down like 15V, it acts like 15V because it is, and they're the same thing. It doesn't, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything that you can do to like noticeably, as a user, vastly enhance the performance if it's the same steel, especially for a production setting. You know, generally the custom knives do better regardless of the steel. The custom knives generally do better than the production version, just because you have to cut corners almost in a production setting to do giant batches in a furnace with numerous hands on the steel. The custom maker is one guy literally like caressing and babying this thing throughout the entire process, and like giving it little kisses, tucking it in a little foil wrap for heat treat. Maybe it's in there with 4 other blades, maybe tops. It's very different, and so usually these do better. But it's performing like 15V, and if I didn't know what these were or anything, and somebody handed me both of these and said, use them, I don't think I would notice a difference. I don't think I would. It's doing the same thing this one did, because it is the same thing. So I think this is gonna, cause mayhem, and people are gonna not like that I'm saying that 15V is 15V, but I'm not so sure that you can enhance the performance of a steel like that much. I think there's only so much you can do, and this is not a dig at anybody. Like, I love Sean's work. I love what he does for the community. I love everything. I said this in the introduction video. The cult following is always worse than the source. It because everything gets completely cuckoo town. But this is acting exactly like the Spyderco did in the testing. It's breaking down into a really aggressive, bitey edge. And I know that it is because that's a ridiculously high polish, a very fine edge, if you will, very fine. And it's still crazy after all this use, just bitey, toothy, grabby. Just like the other 15V. It's getting dark in here. So I'll continue testing this. That's my update for now. If you guys did watch the B-roll footage, the processing of the vegetables for the dogs, like the vegetable scraps, and hitting the cutting board numerous times and kind of going through that like roughage of the broccoli stems and just repeatedly like smack, drag, generally does start to dull a knife. And it's just, this is so grabby, like straight across the grain, straight across, along with all the other usage. It just is acting like 15V. So we'll see how it continues to do. Again, I am not discrediting anyone. I'm not trying to downplay anything. I'm literally just saying I'm not sure if you can manipulate a steel to the point where you can have 2 of the same thing that are heat treated to like the same hardness and everything and done right, and you're gonna notice a significant difference over, with one of them over the other. Like, I don't know if you can enhance and increase that much where somebody uses 2 of the same knives in the same steel or whatever and is like, whoa, this one is so much better, what did you do to it? And they're like, oh, I did this secret magical custom protocol that enhances everything by 35% or whatever. Like, I'm not so sure. So just send your comments my way, I guess. But that's my update, and I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, because I know that this is gonna, I can't see. This is gonna cause some conversation, but I don't notice a difference at all. So, loving the 15V. We will continue to test it. Let me know your thoughts below. Again, I'm sorry. That's it. So go use your shit, learn how to sharpen your knives. I'll see you on the next video. Or maybe I won't. Maybe you're just leaving now. I'm sorry. I love you guys so much. Take care.